Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. My name is Alex Matthew, and with me is Cheryl D'Souza. Cheryl, it's been an eventful last half an hour or so, particularly for IRCTC, and that really is the counter to watch. It started off the day with cuts of about 20%, but it's reversed most of that. It's now trading with cuts of about 4%. The story really is that post-market hours yesterday, there came an announcement that I think was a bit of a jarring shock for quite a few of the retail investors that had piled on to the rally that had taken the stock to tremendous highs. The announcement came in saying that the company would have to share its convenience fee for ticketing services with the Indian Railways, and what followed was several damning reports, brokerages coming and saying that they would have to revise their EPS estimates for the counter. And in fact, today you saw the stock tank in early session. But there was a reversal of that, in fact, when the decision was reversed before it even took effect on the 1st of November. We've got Vikas Sethi as well as Kunal Bothra joining in. And I want to go to you first on this, Vikas. It's not a cheap stock, and it's seen tremendous gains since its listing. Of course, it's just had the stock split. What is the reading of the current situation? What has happened doesn't really change the fact that the stock is still expensive despite the correction that we've had. So how does a retail investor approach IRCTC now that we know what we know?
Yeah, good morning, Alex. Good morning, Cheryl. Now, the incident which has happened is really unfortunate. I just have one question. Had it been a private company, what would have happened? There would be a lot of investigations why this happened, because yesterday evening only some announcement comes and then you retract that announcement today. And I'm sure thousands of investors and traders would have lost a lot of money today on this stock, because there would be a lot of investors who would have bought it at very low levels, and despite the fact that it came down by 20% today, if they were sitting on profits, they would have thought, let's book profits. We are still sitting on profits, and look at this. The stock has reversed and has gained almost the entire losses which it made. And the kind of decision which the government took, I can't imagine how they take a decision, because a simple decision like this led to an erosion of 15,000 crore of market cap from IRCTC, and the government owning 67%, meaning they only lost 10,000 crores if they had not reversed their decision. So these kind of things shouldn't have happened. But whatever said and done, sense has prevailed, and I think that's good. The stock was already expensive, but it's a kind of business which is fancied by the market. The markets are gung-ho about it, and that's why the markets are giving such a high valuation. But I think those who have already bought into it and are invested in the stock should certainly hold on to. After the even without the yesterday's decision, the stock is corrected from its recent highs. So at the current levels, it looks good as a whole. But with PSU stocks and with these kind of stocks which are very much dependent on government policies, one needs to be really cautious.
Right. Good morning, Vikas. And actually putting forth your point on IRCTC loud and clear. Kunal, good morning. I'll also take this question to you, because the queries that I have, at least 60% of those queries are only asking about IRCTC. Either should they go ahead and buy IRCTC now, given at what is happening, and we saw the sharp correction also come in that stock price, so does it make sense to enter right now? Also, for those who've already entered into it, what should their strategy be for IRCTC? No doubt this policy flip-flop actually is not that great for investors to gauge a particular counter.
See, I think frankly, I blinked my eyes twice when I saw the news and the kind of price action which happened yesterday and today morning. Once the clarification came by for IRCTC, I mean, such kind of price actions, it damages every kind of trader as well as investor as well. When you see a stock falling from 1280 levels towards 670, 680, I think in just a matter of maybe 10 trading days, it breaks the back for many of the traders as well as investors. Now, today morning, of course, there was a lot of margin calls for IRCTC. Now, one thing which one has to be very cautious about, and I'll agree with Vikas as well to a larger extent, that for such kind of names, you have to have a very strong risk appetite. Now, you've seen the stock behaving, rallying up 50%, 100% in the past, 2 or 3 months, and then falling as well 50% approximately in the last 10 days as well. So if you can digest this kind of volatility, I believe that current levels could probably be actually come out as a good level to try and enter the stock. But you have to do it with a smaller position size so that your portfolio can absorb that kind of volatility. Because the news have settled out, because the panic lows have happened for IRCTC, I would now sense that the stock would get into more of a stable trend and stable trajectory. And I think once that happens, maybe over the due course of the next 3 to 6 months, you could see the stock getting into a stable uptrend. So at this point of time, one can start chipping in, but then be ready for heightened amount of volatility like what we've seen the last 10 days as well.
Kunal, you're seeing heightened levels of volatility in quite a few stocks across the board. Let's get in viewer queries now. We've got quite a few that are pouring in. This one is from our regular viewer. It's from Lakshman Sodagam, who is writing in from Denmark. He's got 25,000 shares of Trident that he's holding for the long term. Vikas, I'll come to you on this one. He's asking if you can review this. Should he hold on to this for the long term? What are the fundamentals looking like?
The stock has really done exceedingly well over the last 1 year. It has almost trebled, if I'm not wrong. This company is into textiles and I think paper also, and both the sectors are doing really well. So I feel even at these levels, one can hold on to the stock. I think there'll be upside from these levels in the times to come.
In fact, we have a conversation that was had with the DIPAM secretary not too long back. Let's listen in to what he had to say regarding the IRCTC decision.
हमको ये है कि इस डिसीजन पे और विचार होना चाहिए था और उसके इम्पैक्ट देखते हुए और इन्वेस्टर्स का इंटरेस्ट जो है वो काफ़ी अहम है हमारे लिए, दीपम के लिए भी, क्योंकि लिस्टेड कंपनीज में हम सब विभागों को ये सुझाव देते हैं कि कोई भी डिसीजन, पॉलिसी डिसीजन जिनका इम्पैक्ट हो उसको पहले सही से मूल्यांकन करने के बाद ही होना चाहिए. तो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रेलवेज ने वो रिव्यू करके ये ठीक निर्णय लिया है.
सर, आपसे ये भी जानना चाहेंगे, देखिए आईआरसीटी जो है सीटीसी वो प्रोफेशनली मैनेज्ड कंपनी है और बहुत अच्छे से रन करती है. क्या उनकी तरफ से भी कोई आपसे कोई दरख्वास्त की गई या कोई आपसे गुजारिश की गई?
नहीं, आईआरसीटीसी ने तो निश्चय अपना पक्ष रखा है और उस सबको देखते हुए रेलवे ने विड्रॉ करने का डिसीजन लिया है.
All right, that was the DIPAM secretary confirming that news to ET Now Swadesh, network exclusive, that Railways Ministry reviewed their decision that they had taken on IRCTC convenience fees yesterday and then decided to recall it, withdraw it. Investors' interest is very important for the government and therefore in benefit of that they decided to take this particular move, and you can see that actually reflect in IRCTC stock price. We will be playing that particular slice of interview through the course of the day and get you more updates on IRCTC particularly. But let me move on with our queries and let's go on to the next query, and this one is from Vikas Mishra. He wants to know what's the long-term view on Tata Motors and Tata Power. Is it good to hold now for the next 2 to 3 years? Vikas, I will ask you to limit your question either to Tata Power, answer to either Tata Power or Tata Motors. How does it look over the longer term?
Actually, the answer would be similar for both of them. Even if I address one, it would be taken as for the other one also. Both the companies are looking exceedingly well. Fundamentals have certainly improved. The stocks have generated good returns over the last 6 months. And I think there's still a lot of upside to go, although the stocks have corrected from their recent highs. But I feel those who have invested should just stay invested in both these stocks. They are very good electric vehicles play, both the stocks.
Acharya from Bengaluru, who's writing in, who's asking about Aarti Drugs. Kunal, he's got 22 shares of the counter that is been bought at levels of 730. So it's trading with a loss. He's making, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a loss of about 20% or so. He's wondering whether to hold on for the next 6 months. What should he do?
I think you can hold on. Yes, the stock has fallen sharply from 640, 645, I think a week back approximately towards 578. But I think this is in line with what's happened across the markets as well. Such kind of sharp corrections which you typically see at the end of a corrective phase are typically called as more of panic selling, which typically forms medium term to longer term bottom for stocks. So I would sense that given the fact that the long term charts are strong, I would suggest that you should hold on to your investments over here. Maybe I think the volatility settles down, say by next week odd, then you can look to even chip in further and look to average it out.
All right, this next query that we have is coming in from Ujwal, and he wants a technical view on Titagarh Wagon. He's holding some shares which he's purchased at 112 rupees per share. So he wants to know whether he should continue to hold or book losses. What's your take on this one, Kunal? Titagarh Wagons, another company which is related to railways actually. The Ujwal has he's basically holding from 112 rupees per share. What should he do?
See, I think one thing is certain that many of these railway related stocks, they've gone through a heightened bit of volatility, and fortunately Titagarh Wagon has not gone through a volatile phase. But nevertheless, I think what's very important to understand is that the construct of the market where we are right now. So we are into a phase where the volatility has increased up higher, and it's bound to be that maybe over the next couple of months you would see the markets getting into this high volatile phase. So I think at this point of time, it's important to have a shift and a tilt towards more large cap names. So I think if that's the case, or good quality stocks, even if it's a mid cap name, I would suggest a switch from Titagarh Wagon. Even though the investor or the viewer is making a slight bit of loss over here, you can switch to either Tata Consumer at current levels, or from the cement pack, one of the mid cap names which is looking very, very strong on the charts is Ramco Cement. So you can make a switch from Titagarh Wagon to either of these names, specifically from a short to medium term view.
We've got a question coming in from Thomas V. George from Kerala, and he's asking about United Spirits. We had the management of Diageo not too long back, Vikas, on the program, and she was speaking about premiumization and the prospects going forward. Certainly looking good. The stock reacted very positively after its results. We've got Mr. George, who's holding 500 shares at levels of 450. Should he hold on, and what are the prospects for the long term?
Yeah, Alex, this company came out with excellent set of numbers for this quarter, and after that, despite the markets being weak, the stock did really well over the last 2 days. And I think even at the current levels, one should continue to hold on to the stock. It enjoys pretty popular brands, and the entire sector is doing well, although expensive at the current levels, but I think those who have already invested can hold on to the stock.
All right, this one is coming in from Bhoja Raj, and he wants to know whether he can buy Indiabulls real estate at a current price for the longer term, and what sort of a target should he keep in mind while investing in Indiabulls real estate. Because what's your take on this particular counter? How does it look? Do you think Bhoja Raj should go ahead and invest in this Indiabulls real estate right now?
Yeah, I'm extremely bullish on this stock. I like this stock from the real estate space. They also declared their results recently. The results were pretty good, and the sector is in focus with the kind of demand which is being witnessed by most of these companies. And furthermore, one corporate action which is happening with this company is that it's going to get merged with the Embassy Group, which is a pretty good group, and the problem with the stock related to corporate governance would be sorted out once it gets merged with the Embassy Group, and the name also would get changed to Embassy Developments by, I think, December. So I'm bullish on the stock, and I think in the medium to long term, we could see levels of 250 rupees on the stock.
Tuning in right now, I think still asking about IRCTC. I think the broad-based view coming in from both the analysts was that it's going to be volatile in all probability. But if you've already been holding, perhaps it's a good idea to continue to do so. We've got a question coming in from Badri Narayan. He's asking about Lemon Tree. And he's looking for a target. He's got 50 shares, but he's not mentioned the price tag or the price that he's bought at. Kunal, I'm coming to you on the charts. How does it look?
I think Lemon Tree looks attractive, Alex. In fact, out of the hotel names, etc., the reopening trades, which you typically call them, Lemon Tree looks attractive because the fact that it's forming a couple handle pattern on a technical charts or on a technical basis, and I think it's a very, very important pattern because it's spread across, I think, over the last 2 years for itself. So yes, Indian hotels, of course, looks very strong from a large cap, from a quality point of view. But I think Lemon Tree also could be an interesting mid cap name. If the cup and handle pattern breaks out, you could probably see the stock even going past about 80 as well over the next 1 to 2 years. So it depends on the time frame. If you can adjust it towards more medium term to longer term, I would suggest holding on to Lemon Tree at current levels.
We're running out of time, unfortunately, on this segment. It has been a bit of a disrupted show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time and for answering all the questions that you did answer over the course of the last few minutes. We're slipping into a short break, but do stay tuned. More on the other side.